customers have access to cash. What do we have today? Most of the banks have people working for POS operators who, once they open in the morning, you see a lot of POS operators going there to cash huge sums of money. On Wednesday morning, I had to go to the bank and I was told that I can't withdraw more than 40,000. I said I wanted 100. They said, no, we don't give out more than. One of them said it is not going to be more than 20,000. The other said 40,000. So I had to go to one, collect 20, go to the other to collect 40. That is what we are going through. Why should we have such a liquidity problem in the banks when the CBN itself is there to monitor them and ensure that they perform their duties to their customers? It is very, very important. It is embarrassing that you cannot walk to the bank if you have ₦1 million there and say, give me 1 million. Was there any agreement that once I have 1 million there, I will get paid 40,000? No. So the central bank should activate its monitoring system and ensure that the banks fulfills all aspects, I mean all aspects of their obligations to their customers. The same money that they don't want to give out were spent at Owambe parties last Saturday. You see people buying new Naira notes and spraying them so lavishly. And you start wondering, are we not living in the same country? So that's why I'm saying that the CBN should activate its monitoring and evaluation system and ensure that banks that are involved in the sale of the Nigerian currency are brought to book.
All right, moving on now, the Secretary General of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, NSCIA, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, has lampooned the state for seeking federal government intervention to tackle security challenges in their state. What's your take on that?
Well, he must have his own reasons for saying what he said.
He was saying that the president has a lot of things to be attending to. Why are they not focusing on the security challenges?
The issue of security, many people don't know that the state government have no control over it. The Inspector General of Police is under the control of the federal government. The Commissioner of Police in a state cannot be controlled by a sitting governor, except an order comes from the Inspector General. We've had state governors and policemen clashing in the past. So it is difficult for the state governors to do what the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs Secretary General is asking them to do. I am a state governor. I have a commissioner of police that I can't instruct except the Inspector General of Police passes that instruction to him. And you're asking me to check insecurity in my state. It is not possible. The good thing that we have seen under the Bola Tinubu administration is the attempt to have state policemen. If we have state policemen, yes, the governor will fully be in charge of their state security. But without that, there is no way. Is it the army commander that the governor want to instruct? No. The man will tell you that he is reporting to the chief of army staff. And the chief of army staff will in turn tell you that I'm reporting to the chief of the federal. There is a line of command in both the army and the police. So the call for the police and the state governors to implement to ensure that their states are safe can only be done to an extent. Yes, we have almost all the states holding security meeting with SSS, the army, the police, and other security agencies every week. That is just by way of letting them know what the problems are in their various states. But they cannot be actively involved in solving those problems because they don't have such powers. So that call will be difficult for state governors to implement, except we now distribute command powers to the states. Without that, it would be difficult for you to ask a state governor to check insecurity in his state. He must have some level of powers over the people that can ensure the safety of lives and property in his state.
All right, we keep talking about the need for kinetic and non-kinetic approach in terms of dealing with, the remote causes of insecurity. Yet nothing has changed.
There is nothing stopping Nigeria from fighting insecurity. During the Buhari administration, we bought 12 Super Tucanos. What are those Super Tucanos doing? We are not using them. In every part of the world where Super Tucano warplanes are introduced, the country that is involved in the introduction of those warplanes will be on top of the situation. But we don't have the we don't have the courage to fight insecurity, and I don't know why. Some people will tell you that those in government, or some people in government, or some people in power somewhere are the ones bringing in bandits into the country. Yet we have read about bandits being given food through the use of helicopters, being supplied drugs through the use of helicopters. Anytime children are kidnapped, state governors will package money in bags and go and deliver them to bandits. Will you now, in all honesty, prove that some people in power don't know these bandits? How will you tell me that some state governors that want to give money to bandits do not know who those bandits are? You need to know the powers of your enemy before you can say you are fighting him. If you know the powers of your enemy and you discover that the powers of your enemy is more than yours, that is when people behave the way Nigerian state governors behave. Anytime there is a kidnap situation in their states, why would the state governor give ransom and they will put microphone in your mouth? Did you pay ransom to release these children? They will say, I don't want to answer questions on whether ransom was paid or not. Why are you dodging the question? You see, fighting banditry, terrorism, kidnapping requires courage. If you want to fight it, go all out and fight it. It's not about fighting today, withdrawing tomorrow. We have all we need. The military know-how, the military experience, we have the defense headquarters, we have the Office of the National Security Advisor, we have the SSS, we have the police. In the army, we have different sections, well-trained officers that can lead the fight against banditry. But then we must have the willpower to fight banditry. I keep saying it that we don't have the willpower to fight. We have everything, the Super Tucanos and all that. We have them. 12! If I'm the president, they will use those helicopters.
All right, moving on. Bishop KUKAH said our leaders behave like men in drunken stupor, and he has also called on the federal government to come up with a robust template to reverse and put the country on a path of national healing. How do you react to this?
See, we need it. It is not about the leadership. We also need a focused and well-oriented followership. Let me give you an example. During the last week, some people were arrested on the newly constructed Third Mainland Bridge. They were cutting wires that supplies light to Third Mainland Bridge. Is that the problem of the leaders? We need a dedicated followership. There must be a symbiotic relationship between the leadership and the followership. But we continue to blame the leadership because they commit more of the errors that is making Nigeria to be what it is today. The errors in the sense of stealing one person, federal accountant general stealing over 90 billion, and yet is moving freely. But again, I blame that on the followership, because once somebody gets to the position of power, people will start going to his house. Give me 100,000, give me 50,000. I've experienced it before when I was SA media to somebody in the aviation industry. As soon as money has come, I started receiving all forms of requests, forgetting that I am a salaried person. I was on a certain amount of payment at the end of the month. So I now, in fact, banks started bringing forms to me and offering to open accounts and give me loans. And I said I wouldn't need such loans because they assumed that I was going to steal. Anyway, that is usually the assumption. The followership contributes largely to the problems we have in this country. Somebody is appointed minister today, everybody from his state and his local government will start going to Abuja to meet him. That's when somebody will come and say, my wife delivered twins. Was the man there when you were sleeping with your wife? Must he give you money? That is the truth of the matter. The followership contributes a lot because a lot is expected from a government appointee. I have gone through it, and that is the truth. People, banks started coming to me, any other come, and they came and started offering me loans. And I said, sorry, I don't need these loans. That is the truth. Yes, we have problem with the leadership, but the followership too must be ready to contribute to the development of this country. People keep talking about hardship, rising of the naira. Miwa that is selling water, does he pay dollar to fetch water? In areas where there are no lights, people now buy water for as much as 1,500. Did he fetch his water with dollars? Did the Gari woman that has decided to increase the price of her Gari, did he pay dollars to buy cassava to produce it? Everybody just want to cash in on a bad situation, and that's why we find ourselves where we are today. I am not into any export business, and even if I'm doing not base my charges on the unstable foreign exchange situation in Nigeria, we must also, as followers, take absolute care in ensuring that we don't contribute to what will make our country what it is today. We keep blaming the leadership. Yes, they have a large chunk of the blames, but what are the individuals doing to contribute to Nigeria? And we must sit down and check ourselves and try to make positive contribution to the society. An average American is proud of America. But here people will sit down and start cursing the country. And you want to make progress in that country. It's not possible. We must be positive, guide the leaders, and ensure that you ask questions at the appropriate time. And that is when you can get committed leadership, not when the followership too is as guilty as the leadership.
Right. He also mentioned that there must be a deliberate policy of inclusion that would drastically end the immoral culture of nepotism. How do you think the government can start
He's saying exactly what I am saying now. You see, he's talking about government. Inside you, as a human being, contribute positively to the development of this country. I am into publicity, for instance. I will not say that because dollar is 1,300 today, I will now base my charges on dollars. When what I am doing, the service I'm rendering is based on the naira. That is a problem we are having today. Some people are just buying dollars and keeping them. thinking that by tomorrow, the dollars that I bought at 1,000 will now be sold for 1,500. I will dispose of that and make extra 500 naira per dollar. That is a problem. Greed, avarice. That is a problem we have in Nigeria. Let us come together as the leadership and followership and contribute positively to the development of the country. The woman selling garri, if you ask her the reason why she suddenly raised the price of garri, she will ask you whether you don't know how much they sell dollars. Did you buy your cassava in dollars? So there must, like I said, I have said it and I'm saying it again, there must be a relationship, a very cordial one, between the leadership and followership of this country for this country to get better.
All right, residents of Okuama and other communities still confined in the forest have, sent distress signal to President Sheriff Oborevwori to save their lives as they're dying of hunger, and also, require urgent medical care.
You can see what a few wicked people have done to the entire people and residents of an area in the Niger Delta. Definitely not all the residents of that place had a hand in the killing of those soldiers. All of them are now paying for it. This is what we talk about when we say that there must be a committed followership. There is nobody that doesn't know that if you look for trouble with soldiers, they will give you more than double of the trouble you asked for. I pity those innocent souls that have been driven into the various bushes and they are now suffering as a result of that. But it is a lesson that you don't attempt to kill soldiers, you don't attack soldiers, you don't attack security agents for whatever reasons. I have been confronted by errant security men in Lagos. Each time I find myself in that situation, I calm down. Do you know that a policeman has arrested me in this Lagos over an iron that was bad, that was spoiled, and was put inside my car for repairs? But I chose to buy a new iron. I took that new iron in and left the bad one in the car. A policeman on stop and search came and said, "Look, where is the receipt for this iron?" I said, "I don't have it." He said I was under arrest. I followed him. When we got to the station, the senior officer asked him that, "Do you think this man, as is looking, can steal an iron?" And he now looked very stupid and apologized to me. So if I had argued with him, it would be another crisis. So we should learn to obey security men. If I had got angry and slapped him, it would be another case entirely. That, "Look, you young policeman, you're accusing me of stealing an iron." I will get to court. In that case, we'll get to the court and I will be convicted. So people should learn to be patient when you have situations that you have to or deal with security men. You don't attack security men. We are supposed to have learned that from the incidents that happened at Odi in Obasanjo's regime. Odi was leveled to the ground. We should have learned that from what happened at Zaki Biam in Benue State during Obasanjo's regime. Soldiers were killed and Zaki Biam was leveled. Many people were killed in that situation. So let us learn to deal carefully with security men. You don't attack soldiers to the point of killing them. The soldiers will come back in full force and kill more than the number of soldiers you have killed. That is what is happening in, is it Okuama village now?
Yeah, come on.
That is what is happening there. I pray God will soften the heart of the soldiers, because at that point the soldiers are not going to even listen to us anymore. You have killed one or two of them, then you are in trouble. Even on the road, if a soldier is crossing the road and you know that he's doing it wrongly, just be patient. Because if you kill him, you have attracted wahala to yourself. So people and communities should learn from what is happening there and what has happened in Odi and Zakibiam in the eastern part and in the northern part of Nigeria.
All right, let's touch on this one before we go. Now, there are indications that some domestic airlines may cease operations over the rising price of aviation fuel, otherwise known as Jet A1, and this is coming from the sustained increase in the price of aviation fuel over the last 2 years. What's your take on that?
It is sad that we have this situation in the aviation sector. A one-way flight to any part of Nigeria now is about or more than 200,000 naira. It is not the best of times for the aviation industry in Nigeria. The consistent rise in the pump price of Jet A1, which is the major fuel that they use, is a major problem for the industry. A major problem in that once there is a slight increase in Jet A1, the prices of Jet A1, there will be an effect on the cost of flights. I expect that the refineries that have been put together in Nigeria today should also concentrate more on the production of Jet A1 and its wingway. Even though we know that whatever goes up in Nigeria doesn't come down, but it will mitigate a reconsideration of the high cost of transportation that we have today. Once we have an aviation industry that is not active, you can as well say goodbye to any country that is going through that kind of journey of no return. That's the way I want to describe it, because the aviation industry is crucial to the survival of any economy in any part of the world. So we must ensure that the aviation industry in Nigeria do not die. We must do everything within our powers. The government must do everything within its powers to ensure that they have to subsidize the cost of Jet A1. They should, because it is very important that we have an active aviation industry in Nigeria.
All right, let's touch on Mr. and Mrs. And Mrs. is speaking. Says, you finished the food. Oh my God, this is good. You have not eaten for some time now. And Mr. replies and says, with the economic recession, every meal is delicious.
Because you know what has gone out of your pocket to prepare that meal, and you can't say no to whatever is given to you. It is the situation in most homes today. Once you go out, you try to be frugal with your spendings and come back to the house to eat. It is a lot more economical than to get home, to go out and start spending huge sums of money on food. I support what the husband is doing.
Every meal is delicious.
Very delicious, no matter how it is.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, also former editor of Daily Times and Concord Newspaper. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
You're most welcome, precious.
Also, remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social platforms showing on your screen. To find out today's stories, go to our website www.vanguardindia.com to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi. Thank you for watching.